Thank you so much. I really, really thank you for inviting me today. Mentoring is near and dear to my heart, both in or outside of an organization. And what you're going to hear later in the presentation is where I specialize, and that's in volunteer youth mentoring. But let's start out today by talking about what is a mentor. If you think back to your life, there are probably a large number of people who have influenced you, and many of them could be categorized as a mentor. Some are formal relationships while others are informal. Examples of mentors can come from teachers, coaches, older friends, teammates, and colleagues, to name a few. Put simply, the word mentor as a noun is an experienced and trusted advisor. As a verb, to mentor is to guide and advise someone. What is mentoring? Mentoring is to support and encourage people to manage their own learning, not only to manage their own learning, but to help them face and deal with the situations that they come up against in their day-to-day life, their workplace, or any other experience. Mentors assist the mentee to maximize their potential, develop their skills, improve their performance, and most importantly, the mentor helps the mentee become the person they want to be and the person they can be. A mentor can be a role model, a guide, or just someone to talk to. As I mentioned, there are mentors in all parts of our lives, but for today, we're going to really focus on two places, the workplace and youth mentoring. What is workplace mentorship? Some firms have very formal structured programs for mentoring, while others have informal programs. Later, we're going to touch on why every company should have some form of a mentoring program, especially for new employees, and the benefits that a company can see from such a program. A mentor in the workplace is someone that has experience to provide guidance to the less experienced or new employee, the mentee. And in a situation like we face today, a mentor is a great way for the mentee to have guidance and help in dealing with situations like the pandemic and working from home. Having a mentor to ask questions and get guidance is so important, especially for those newer employees. For internal programs, a company should look for employees that are willing to share their knowledge, willing to put in the time. In the volunteer world, we use a term when someone is told what they should do as being voluntold. Good mentors should never be voluntold. They need to volunteer. They need to want to do this, have a strong commitment. I tell you this because we see companies very often try to start a mentoring program and assign people to become a mentor, forcing employees to be involved. This is a path for failure. In a bit, I'm going to share with you some information on the benefits of being a mentor that you can use to motivate your employees to want to get involved. For your employees, mentors can come from the same companies or someone within the same industry. For example, in the construction industry, there are many groups and associations that have been set up to mentor women, minorities, and other groups that might be in guidance. Needing of guidance. So not only can you set up a program within your company, but it is a very good practice to allow your employees to join associations and other groups to help them find guidance. Why, as an employer, should you even care about a mentoring program? Studies have shown that most companies that have even an informal program see some benefits, such as greater productivity. Their employees develop needed skills in a faster time, cutting the cost overall to the employer. Employees in mentoring relationships often feel more valued, which calculates into a reduced turnover rate. We know that it is much more expensive and disruptive to a firm if you're constantly needing to bring on new employees. Retention is a great way to have your company have success. A well-executed mentoring program can even be a selling point to attract new and talented employees. They know they're going to get guidance and they're going to get the help that they need to become comfortable and understand your corporate. I use the term formal and informal. Either way, there are some key principles to the mentoring program. It has to be based on trust and confidentiality. The mentee needs to know that they can go to the mentor, share what they need, ask their questions without being judged or reported to anyone. The mentee and the mentor have to agree on boundaries and ground rules. The mentee needs to drive the relationship, and the mentor needs to have the mentee have the responsibility for their development. This is not a teacher or coaching. This is someone for guidance and assistance. The mentee is the one that should set the goals and set the priorities and have the overall buy-in. Mentors should acknowledge the benefits that they gain. Let the mentee know why they're doing it and what they want to get out of the relationship. And mentors should seek to supporting the resources that the mentee needs and to make sure that they sustain the engagement of the mentee. There's nothing worse than when you have a mentee-mentor relationship. If the mentee does not feel that it is important to the mentor, that relationship is not going to have the trust and the mutual respect. Again, it's not easy, and you have to have committed employees who want to dedicate their time to this. Mentoring is useful for all companies. Some of you may be sitting there thinking, we're a tiny company, we only hire a few people. But there isn't a time in a company's lifestyle that can't benefit from mentoring. Early stage founders can use mentors to help them through starting and building their companies. Growing startups can use a mentoring program to foster the founder's vision and the team's culture. Everyone has something to learn. Everyone has something to share. Recent grads and young professionals have an obvious need for mentoring, as it provides a proven outlet for developing skills in leadership. Mid-level managers also need mentoring support and can learn how to better manage people and pressure and face new opportunities and push forward to the next stage of their career. Less obvious, but equally important, is senior management can also benefit from the outside perspective, the ongoing support and advice, and the reverse mentoring that a young mentee can provide in today's rapidly evolving workplace. We can learn a lot from the next generation. And especially if the younger generation is a target audience for your company, it is a great way for the senior management to understand your audience. Mentoring is a great way of training and knowledge sharing. There have been lots and lots of studies, and this is actually a combination of two studies, one from Berkeley and one from Quinnipiac. But over 90% of workers with a mentor are satisfied with their job, is what they reported in the study. More than 40% of the employees without a mentor have considered quitting their job in their last 3 months. The majority of mentored employees feel more positive about their organization and feel their organization cares. Retention rate for mentees is about 72%, while non-participating mentees or employees that are not in a mentoring program have a rate of just about 49%. And I found this really interesting, but millennials expect to be mentored. They expect to have the guidance, they want the guidance, and they want to feel that they have a say as well. I told you I would share a way that you could tell your employees why they should want to volunteer to mentor. Because the benefits are not only for the mentee and the employer, there is a lot of benefit to those that actually mentor. The mentor has the opportunity to develop teaching skills, and which is very much similar to management skills. And this is a great management tool for your company. If you can see a senior person managing a new employee, it shows you great potential for management. The mentor is required to listen and be able to respond, developing their listening and communication skills. Again, huge skills for management. And the relationship between the mentor and the mentee can continue beyond the arrangement in the workplace and can actually benefit from the interaction of the different people between the mentor and the mentee. Benefits aren't limited to the mentee, because in the study, it also showed that those who mentored had a higher retention rate with their employer. They felt that their employer engaged them in the overall corporate culture. They also felt that as a mentor, it helped them understand their job better and give them better job satisfaction. And mentors felt that teaching the skills gave them the ability to hone their skills even more. And lastly, mentors felt that they got attention from upper level management by volunteering to be a mentor and saw their advancement within the company to be greater. Now, let's say you do want to do a mentor program. If you want to do a more formal one, you will need to put together an organization and a structure, and it will take a little work. And you need to set initial goal setting. What is your goal? If you have a larger firm, how many people do you want to have mentored? If you have a smaller firm, maybe it's only a handful of people. Frequent communication between whoever is heading up the program and the mentors. The one thing you never want to have happen is for your mentors to feel that they are not supported or that they don't know what they're doing. So it's extremely important that they have someone to go to with any questions. It's important to tell your mentor that you may not have all the answers, and it's okay not to have all the answers. Simply tell your mentee that you need to do some research and you will get back to them. Good mentoring doesn't just happen. It requires effort and commitment on the part of the program coordinator, the mentee, the mentor, and most importantly, the supervision of the organization. Now I want to talk a little bit about volunteerism or youth mentoring and why you as an organization, as well as your employees, should really consider volunteering for youth mentorship. Youth mentorship creates positive relationships that inspire youth to discover their individual potential. There are many studies that show that youth that have mentors outside of their school, their teachers, really have a better path. They make better positive choices. They develop life skills. It helps them develop core values. It strengthens interpersonal skills and professional relationships. And the mentor can model and encourage youth to appreciate diversity and show respect to themselves, their friends, their playing partners, fellow competitors on teams, their schoolmates, and even those other people in their lives. It is so important, especially for those students that are in inner city schools that lack resources. Many of them lack good role models at home. And it is so important for us as a society to give them additional guidance, help. So now I'm going to tell you a little about the program that I head up. It is called the ACE Mentor Program. It is geared towards architecture, construction, and engineering. And our mission is to enlighten and engage high school students to want to pursue a career in the industry of construction. So architecture, engineering, construction, the trades. And our goals are pretty simple. We are trying to develop a more diverse, better prepared workforce for the future. For those of you that know the construction industry, especially in the trades, we need people and we need diversity. We need women. So we are working to go into the underrepresented schools throughout the country to make sure that the minority population and women know that the construction industry is actually a wonderful industry for them to consider. And then what we do is after we spend time with them in high school and teach them the ins and outs of the industry, we basically continue to support them through their post-secondary education, through scholarships, internships, and additional mentoring. For those of you that have ever gone through or know someone who's gone through engineering school or architecture school, it's a difficult task. So we want to make sure that we set them up for a path of success to ultimately end up in our industry. Our core values are simple: inclusion, collaboration, and excellence. We work with over 4,100 volunteer mentors. And we want to make sure that they are positioned and prepared to help our students understand not only the industry, but also all the soft skills. I talked about the soft skills for the mentee and the mentor, presentation skills, teamwork, collaboration. We want to make sure that they learn not only about the industry, but also about all those soft skills. We are in 77 affiliates in 37 states, Puerto Rico and Canada, and we see 10,000 kids a year. 70% of those kids are minority, and about 40% are women. And we have given over $23 million worth of scholarships. But again, if you remember what I said, is it's not just about the money. We want to make sure that we follow them, we help them, and we put them on the success path. Youth mentoring, we have heard over and over again, is an education that goes beyond their textbooks. You know, they're learning stuff in school, but a lot of times youth mentoring and programs like ACE gives them the ability to see what they're learning in school and how it's going to correlate to a potential career path. And we have found many of our students have indicated that having outside role models, outside guidance, not only helped them do better in school, it motivated them, it helped them understand sort of the next step from high school to career path. With that, I only wanted to spend a few minutes about our program. If anyone is interested in more information on our program, I'll be happy to share it. Know there are many other programs that are in other industries, healthcare, restaurants. There are plenty of opportunities, Big Brother, Big Sister, Boys and Girls Club. We're all looking for mentors. We're all looking for adults to volunteer to help our students.
So that's fantastic, Diana. It's a great summary for the business and for ACE. I did have a couple questions that came in.
Sure.
And people chatting me. What is the commitment with your program for a mentor over that year? Like what level of involvement is
So
needed?
for ours, the students have 15 sessions. Each session is 2 hours. It's usually between November and April. And so we say the minimum commitment is about 40 hours in that November through October through April.
And I'm sure this year it's been mostly virtual. How does that work when we're back to work model?
So the cornerstone of the program has always been face-to-face, and that's where the mentors have really gotten to know the mentees. But in March, a year ago, we pivoted to 100% virtual, and we are still virtual. The reason that we're virtual is that even the schools that have gone back, they've gone back hybrid or they've gone back part-time. It was just easier for the spring for us to stay virtual. And so for the fall, we have learned a lot. We will be both. We will be in person for those students that don't have a geographic constriction or have transportation issues, but we will be virtual. So we are putting together we put together a new program for the high schools of the military. So we're actually going to be doing a team in Japan next year on the naval base for those kids, and that will be virtual.
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think, moving back to the business side, I'm sure
Sure.
the question a lot of people were thinking about is this all sounds great, but with scarce resources, how do I get started? And if you were to say that, for someone that really wants to do it but can't hire someone like you, what would you recommend as a couple of things to do to start off with?
What I would recommend is figure out who on your staff needs to be mentored. And get an idea of how many and spend some time with them. I would say probably within your HR component, spend a little time of what they need and what they want. It doesn't have to be a one-on-one. If it's a small firm and you've got 2 new employees, they can be mentored by the same person. And that person can spend some time together with both of them and some time individually with both of them. An informal mentor, so my son just got a new job and he got a buddy. And the buddy is just someone who did his job in the past that he can go to ask questions. So it's not really a formal relationship, but he was told that this person, and I think I forgot to mention, but it's really important. The mentor should not be a supervisor of that person, nor in any part of the management path of that person. So the mentee needs to have no responsibility for the person, so the person can be honest with them. The worst thing is to say your mentor is your supervisor, because if they have an issue with their supervisor, they may not feel they can go to that person. So how I would start is first identify the need within your company of, and what those people that need to be mentored, what they're looking for.
And we had, and that's great. And I think that it's very important around the like level of responsibility. And now there might be different programs for somebody who wants to look at high potential of future leaders to have a different type of program, but that would, you want to really carefully craft that as a different orientation than a mentor program.
Here's the other thing is, so we have many firms in the construction industry that are small firms. And I mentioned we have associations. So if you have a woman on a staff that's one of the only women, you may support that person to go find an association. So in construction, we have professional women in construction. And a lot of the women join because they're looking for women mentors in the construction industry. So it may not even be internal. There's lots of organizations out there that you could support and say to your employee, we'll pay your membership. And this would be a great way for you to have additional mentorship. The other thing for the employer is they may come back with some new and great ideas that you haven't thought of.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's trying to have not someone feel like they're alone in the ocean.
And you know, especially in this pandemic, you know, now we're really isolated in that we're home by ourselves. You know, what we saw is a lot of our mentees reached out to their mentors more. And just to have that interpersonal, that ability to say, this is weird, I don't like this. And for someone to say, it's okay, we all feel that way. You know, sometimes a mentor relationship is nothing more than validating the feelings of the person to make them feel like it's okay.
We did have one question came in, and I think when you were discussing starting the mentor-mentee relationship, they wanted to know whether you have a sample template of the kind of questions that could be asked to develop, you know, starting that relationship.
Sure, I can share that. I will share it with you, Kevin.
Yeah, and we'll pass it along to everybody.
Yeah, so we have one that's geared towards youth mentoring. We have sort of breaking the ice with youth, and I have one for employers.
Awesome.
And what's really important is to make sure the mentor doesn't think they have to be scripted. You know, giving them guidance and to get comfortable is good, but it should be an organic interaction between the two people, getting to know each other. But yes, there should be strict questions like, what are you looking to accomplish? What are your goals? And how do I help you?
Yep. Well, that's been great. Diana, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. Like I said, if you could pass some of that information along, we'll share
Happy to do it.
And anybody that would like to learn more about ACE that's in the architecture, construction engineering, I'm sure Diana would be happy to speak with you.